Hello and welcome to Hatha Yoga Mama's yoga channel. Today we're talking about the Lotus Pose and a few good poses that help us get there if we're not yet in the Lotus Pose. If you're unfamiliar with the Lotus Pose, that's the traditional meditation pose where we have one foot up in the hip, both feet are up in the hip socket areas or like hip crease areas. And you can have the left foot on top, the right foot on top, it doesn't matter. It's actually recommended to do both ways, flip flop, to keep balanced and things like that. So that is Lotus Pose. In order to do this pose, it's kind of hard to see with my black leggings, I'm sorry. Um, in order to do this pose, you need to have some good hip flexor and mobility in the hip flexors. Sorry, I got distracted by a spider. Anyway, and you also need a lot of flexibility in the knees and the ankles as well. So it's a lot of lower body and low back mobility. So when we are not yet there and we want to get there, there are a lot of different poses that we can do that kind of help us get there. So first, if you've ever watched my joint movements video, that is that one is a great one to start with to just get all of the um, joints loose and things. And so that's where I'd really start. If you are tight in the lower extremities, go to my gentle joints movement video, and that will help you out immensely. But so moving on from that, a great opener for our hips here and for our glutes to let the legs turn externally and really open up the hips. That way is called fire log legs. I love this pose for a lot of reasons, but it does amazing things for the hips. So to practice this pose, you want to sit with both legs out. You can bring them up, plant the feet into the floor. We're going to bring our right foot in front of us and lay it parallel in front of our hips, or parallel to our hips here. And so basically just straight across. Then take the left foot, place the left ankle on top of the right knee, and then let the left knee just slowly try to close that gap between the left knee and the right foot. So you can start by sitting up nice and tall, roll those shoulders down and away from the ears, tall through the spine, sink down through your hips. And you'll start to feel that left side. This left hip is what we're really stretching open here. You are getting some opening in that right side for sure, but the left side is really getting that kind of that more of the stress here. So we can sit in this pose, and as you can see, even just a few seconds I've been here talking, I've really decreased that distance just from allowing, because space, time, breathing allows all of the muscles there to really start to release. And so you don't really have to do a whole lot here other than spend some time is the point. So spend some time in this pose, and you want to do it on each side. So when we're done with this side, you would flip-flop the legs. You'd put the left leg in front, and then you'd put the right leg on top. So we always want to make sure we're doing both sides here. But for simplicity's sake today, I'm just going to do this one side so you see what that looks like. As you can see, we're getting closer and closer there. I can even like bounce that knee a little bit to help move any stagnant energy, any of the kind of just stuff that's built up there, any of that tension. We can kind of help move through that by just gently bouncing that. If that does not feel good, don't do it by any means. Another great thing that you can do in this pose is to reach forward. And so like I always say, move with the breath. So take a nice big inhale. You can lift the arms up, you can exhale and just drop them down and slowly touch the floor in front of you. And the key here is to keep your hips grounded, but to like just walk the arms and the torso forward and keep those hips down on the ground. And it really starts to relax and open up your lower back, sacrum, spinal area down there. So walking the hands forward, taking some deep belly breaths can feel really amazing here and can also really help to close that gap. in the legs, in the hips. Whenever we are doing major muscle release, and the glutes are a major muscle, it's almost always activated. You really want to use the breath and use your exhales to help press and move out any of that muscular tension. So when you have those nice heavy exhales out of the mouth, it cues to your body that it's okay and that it's safe to relax and to let your muscles go. So take those deep exhales through the mouth, those big sighs, just let that keep coming and just feel how much that tension is just melting away, and you can just sink deeper and deeper into the pose. So again, I invite you to just spend some time here in fire log leg pose. And again, make sure you do the other side here as well. But again, that is one great pose. And here, see, by the end of it, my knee is almost completely flat and my hips are feeling lovely. I will definitely do my right side after this video, but again, for time's sake, we will not. So I'm going to release my legs, move them out nice and slow. I'm just going to move my hips from side to side and release there. And like I said, you can just kind of shake it out. And then if we were going to do it again, we'd be putting the left leg down, bring the right leg on top, do the whole thing over again. So that's one pose. Another great pose that is very similar to that is cow's face. And so for this pose, it is, like I said, very similar. I'm going to work on, I just did a lot on the left side, so I'll probably do the right side this time. So again, we start with the feet out in front of us, or the legs out in front of us. We're going to bend the knees, bring them up towards us, bring the left leg underneath our right, and we're going to place it next to our right hip as close as possible. So we have that leg sitting there, and we want both of our hips grounded into our mat. And so our right leg is in front of us, so we're going to take that and we're going to bring it to the left side. So you might just sit right here, and that's totally fine. And just, you can bring one hand around and just sit up nice and tall through the spine and just work on getting that hip opening right here. It's also opening slightly on the left side, but it's mostly the action happening on the right side here. So you can sit right here, or if you'd like to take it a step further, you can bring that right foot back and kind of towards this left hip area. And this is where you're stacking the knees on top of each other there, and then the legs go opposite ways. So again, you can kind of grab onto your feet and adjust the hips down, sink down into the hips. I'm really feeling that opening on the right side here. Again, opening up through that leg. You can just hold the hands onto the feet here gently, and just sit up tall here. You can let the eyes close and take some deep breaths. Again, letting those exhales come out of the mouth in a nice heavy exhale or sigh to help release that right side. In the full expression of this pose, we also bring the arms into it. So seeing with the right leg is on top, so we bring our right arm up, and then we can bring our left arm down, and we try to grab onto our fingers there. If you have a belt or a rope or something like that, you can also grab onto that and hold on to the rope in a bind. So this is the full expression of cow's face pose. And again, you do it on each side. So this is the right side that we're doing right now, and we would switch to do the left side where the right leg would be down, the left leg would be on top, and then our left arm would be up and the right arm would be underneath, pulling back. So this is another really, really great pose that is a full body activation and also really releases the hip areas and helps you move one step closer into Lotus Pose. And it also really helps because of the knees as well. It really gets a lot of flexibility going on for your knees. So knees and hips are totally taken care of here. And if you're going with the full expression with the arms, your shoulders are super well taken care of here as well. So Lovely. Next pose that we're going to do, that is, and again, to come out, just come out nice and slow. Come out as gently as we go in, is what I always say. Or we want to move out as gently or as intentionally as we came into the pose. So we just want to move nice and slow. And now we'll move on to our next um, pose that helps with lotus pose here, and that is pigeon pose, and that's the only one here that's not just straight from a seated position. So for pigeon pose, we will come into a tabletop position and just on all fours. Wrists, elbows, and shoulders are all in a line, and knees are right below the hips. And from here, you can just start to straighten out our left leg a little bit, not all the way, but just kind of bring it back a little bit. And then we're going to bring our right knee up towards our right wrist, and then bring our right ankle over towards our left wrist. And then here we would just start to sit back, press back through that left leg, sink down through the right hip. You can sit up nice and tall, and then you can start to come down with the torso. And you can take some deep belly breaths here. Pigeon pose is a really incredible hip opener, probably the most intense one, although the other two are pretty intense as well. But with the practice of all three of these poses in any sort of normal way, 2-3 times a week, something like that, and you are well on your way to having really great hip mobility and just overall feeling more comfortable. So that is pretty much all I have for you today. And I really, really hope that you have enjoyed this video. And I hope that you enjoy all of the juicy hip goodness you're going to get from doing these poses. So enjoy your day, enjoy your meditation time, your stretching time, your relaxation time, whatever this is for you. And I hope you have a lovely day. Namaste, my friends. See you soon. Bye.